Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to my channel, Lunatic Plays. I'm the Lunatic who plays City Skylines. We are back in part 3 of Brightwater Revamp. Yeah. I began 3 episodes ago as a, what was it? Road markings revamp, yeah? Yeah, episode 4, 5. Yeah, right. Here we are, 3 episodes later. It's still not done, but it has taken us to revamp Brightwater almost entirely. There's still bits and pieces that, that need our attention, and bits and pieces that are still there from before. Like I'm really happy with this area. I would maybe do minimal changes here. I will definitely review it, but basically we stop here because again I had so much footage, so much footage, that yeah, unfortunately we have to do a 3-parter, and I do think that it's still gonna be a very full episode because we still have to detail a whole bunch here on the main shopping street, and then we have like all the little detailing that we have around here. I kind of got rid of the vanilla houses, row houses. After a closer inspection, I just didn't like them. Like I felt like I want to include something vanilla, but it sucks. I liked it when it came out. I don't like it anymore because I've got something better, and this is it. So we've got a bunch of stuff to detail here. Then we have like all these little alleyways that we have here. I really love this part, I have to say. Like I see that this is going to be a great little piece of our town. This kind of like reminds me in different towns around Ireland, what they call Irish towns, where you have a lot of these little like alleyways and those low homes around there. They're generally more kind of like elementary looking, I guess, because they were built by, you know, the British oppressors who colonized Ireland to house the Irish population, whom they considered to be inferior to themselves. So that is generally why these type of areas they look more poor, basically. But I do feel personally that they have a great charm because it's full of like little tiny narrow alleys and streets, and you know, small cute little buildings, and visually I like the aesthetic because it's like I don't know, it has a soul in my opinion. So I'm just very happy to like introduce little bits and pieces of such places to our town. And this is what we're gonna focus on today. Also, we're gonna diversify the edges of our towns with some of these detached houses like we've placed here in the last episode. I think that they work. I generally want to focus on those that kind of are fenced all around, not the ones with like open driveways, because that's just not very realistic. So I will kind of curate the assets to match the vision. Here we will hopefully at last I'm gonna do my makeshift graveyard and the ruin and like a heritage site. Hope, please. I would like to. I'm foreseeing like maybe like a small parking lot, and then like a heritage site, office, visitor center, and then obviously like a ruined graveyard with tombstones and stuff like that. And maybe some walls and vegetation, and yeah. So this is gonna be very fun. This little area here. I'm kind of keeping it for myself for the end. I always like to keep the best part for the very end so that it motivates me to get to it. And here I don't know if it's gonna stay like this. I sort of placed this building in a sort of makeshift testing kind of way just to see if they work, but I might draw up a cul-de-sac and do another row of these you know, American row homes that I'm gonna convert into English Georgian housing. Just to have it here in the skyline. I just wanted to pepper some of these Georgian housing here and there across our town. And here as well, I'm gonna add some detached housing. I'm actually unsure, to be honest. I had like a sneaky plan to perhaps do a business park here in this area where the Garda station, the police station is. I would maybe concrete it out a little bit, place the vegetation more strategically, add some office spaces, because our town does need some office spaces. So that's what I think, maybe like a magazine or two, make it like that, because we have a key wall here anyways. It's one of the few key walls that actually remained in the town after we revamped. So like I feel like this sort of aesthetic would work with a business park, and I think that location wise it's actually a very good spot because there's not too many houses in the immediate area. So even if we have an industrial building or two, it won't be the end of the world pollution wise, so perhaps a business park. We'll see what happens. Another business park that I think is definitely a lot more likely is here. So we had a housing estate over here, and now there's a rail track going at the back of it, which we still actually have to connect to the main rail over here. We will. Fret not, it's coming. But I don't think it's very realistic to have the tracks going so close to houses, and unless I deleted this entire row of homes, and then sort of like fenced it out, vegetation, blah blah blah. Doesn't really leave that many houses, but again, we have a key wall. Again, concrete galore. So I figured, how about we pop a bunch of office buildings in here? How about we just turn this into a business park? And it would work. And also, like, I've been meaning to put in some more of these ugly New Ireland style, New Ireland architectural style buildings, like here and here. Generally, large windows, ugly yellow concrete, Irish architectural style of the early 2000s. It's ugly, but it makes the city look nice. So, because it makes it like more real. I think there's beauty in ugliness. So that's kind of what I wanted to add, and I think that this would be a good space for it. So we could again get rid of the vegetation, get rid of the houses, turn this baby into a housing estate. And I think that that's a very a business park. I think that's a very good idea. So we definitely have our hands full. I want to get rid of some of these houses here, replace them by detached housing as well. Yeah, we have our hands full, and then obviously all of the road markings need to happen for all of the Brightwater roads once we are done. So I'll try to like work them as I'm getting different parts of town sorted. Once I'm happy that this is the way that is going to stay, I will add road markings. Like here, I wanna limit some of the parking space. I wanna add road markings for it, just like we've been doing here. We have these kind of like parking islands that respect wider footpaths closer to the intersection. So I kind of want to bring it to George Street. I renamed some streets, by the way. So this is George Street because brick Georgian housing. Makes sense, don't it? And yeah, as I was saying in the previous episode, these type of buildings generally have a basement. So like on the side of the door, you'll have like a little stairway going down, and then you have a basement, and that's generally where like Irish people lived during the oppression times. Sadly, I don't have such a home here, so I just had this little fence, and I put shrubs and bins and whatnot. So that's what we have to contend with. But I think it's still a nice little detail. It's nicer than what it was before. And I think it works. I like these brown brick buildings. I'm gonna insert a little photo of a street in Dublin that kind of reminds me of more or less this type of aesthetic. So here is actually Great George's Street in Dublin. I didn't even realize that this street was also called Georgia Street. Well, Great Georgia Street. This is the inspiration for Georgia Street that we're building in Brightwater here. So as you see, it has this kind of like old Georgian looking homes in brown red brick, and yeah, this is the sort of loose inspo for our project. Yeah, so that's it. That's sort of my very loose inspiration for it. But yeah, like that's all. I hope we're gonna wrap up in this one. So I think without further ado, let's get to work. Hi guys, jumping in here real quick. At the end of the previous episode, I mentioned that I would be unlocking everything and getting rid of the money, and also getting infinite demand. The mod I used to use is out of date, so I have a new one. It's the, I'm gonna tell you now, it's the Demand Master Control. I have no idea what it is all about. I just did something like this and I hope for the best. Yeah, let's hope that it will give me demand. Anyways, I will put my buildings in and I will hope that they will stay where I place them. But in the meantime, if you guys have a simpler unlimited demand mod that I can use, that would be great, because the one that it's literally called the Infinite Demand mod. I used to use that one for my other builds, but I'm getting a notification that it's not compatible with the current version of the game, so that's a shame. But yeah, that's all I had to say. Let's get back into the building. Intermittent Luna here. We have mostly wrapped up city center. There's still bits and pieces of detailing to do on our old Georgia Street. But just before we continue, I wanted to pop in because our town is taking shape. Certainly it is. I'm really loving it. I have to say, like it's such a departure in such a positive way from what we had Brightwater looking like when we started the series. I know it's been a three-parter revamp, but I'm glad I'm taking the time to do it. Like I'm really getting into the nitty-gritty details of it. So it's a journey, and it's a great one too. I feel like I'm really going to town with all the detailing, and I'm enjoying every minute of it. I'm listening to some really interesting books as well, which keep me company while I'm putting in all these 20-30 hours of work per episode. So now that we're here and the town is taking shape, I want to redo the neighborhoods. So I want to draw up all the kind of like neighborhoods borders and name them and all. And I kind of gone over already and renamed a bunch of streets, kind of with more what I consider to be a more realistic approach. So for example, obviously here we have the Brightwater Quay. I wasn't breaking apart roads that City Skylines connected automatically, so that's why you have two parallel roads that are the same road. It's okay. It's fine. This is the Brightwater Quay, and this is gonna be, and probably this whole area as far as the bridge is gonna be called the Brightwater Quay. And then like we have obviously all these like Georgian era buildings here. That was the first kind of neighborhood that we fully completed with all the road markings and stuff. And here we have a church, so I renamed it as St. George's Parish to honor the architectural style, I guess. And we have St. George's Road and Church Road, kind of alluding to the general area. Like generally, like the roads are not named in the most imaginative way in real life. Like generally, if there's a church along the road, that road's gonna be called Church Road. You know, if there's some patron or whatever, that's probably gonna be one of the roads there too. So that's what I did. So here, probably this I want to call this area here I want to call George's Hill or something like that. Then obviously this is gonna be its own area, Hill Street, and I think it's just gonna be called literally like Hill Street or Hill Markets or something along those lines. Where all the shopping places are. Here, you might have seen on some of the recordings that I built a lake. I kind of had this lovely little area nestled here between the mountains. I just had to push them back a little bit. As you see, there's a pretty steep cliffside, which I'm still going to decorate with like vegetation and whatnot. But we have a lake, and now because there's a lake, it's a landmark. It inspires the name. So I looked up what is a saint of lakes and waters and all that. I grew up Catholic. I'm not Catholic, so I don't really know. But I looked it up, and interestingly enough, Saint Kevin of Glendalough, which Glendalough is a lake in Ireland. It's one of my favorite spots for hiking in County Wicklow. And apparently St. Kevin of Glendalough is the patron of lakes and waters, according to Google, my very quick Google search. So this is St. Kevin's Parish because it's just here. And here we have Church Street, Brightwater Road, Butler's Lane, St. Kevin's Lane to kind of commemorate the whole thing, Park Street, because there's the park, you know, that kind of stuff. So this area is probably going to be called something like St. Kevin's Hill or Kevin's Glade, something along those lines. I'll come up to see what looks better once I get to it. And then obviously we'll have this area here around the ruin that's not detailed yet, not complete. And this, I think the ruin has to dictate the name because it's like the oldest place here, so it will probably inform the naming. So I was looking up different names, and I think that this is going to be the Brightwater Abbey, and then the area can be called something like Abbey Hill or Abbey Parks or something like that. And then we get a more informed, relevant sort of naming for area. I'm probably gonna name the business parks like this one. Oh, and this one their own things. Maybe this is gonna be the rail yard business park. Then this one could be the Abbey business park. You know, kind of like take whatever is in its close proximity and use that in the name to basically create it. And here, this is gonna have something to do with school. This is the primary school of St. Kevin's, St. Kevin's Primary School. Again, going with that theme because it's just here. The parish is just down the road, so makes sense. Our other school, the secondary school that we have here, since it's a newer building, I consider this to be more like a national school, so this is not Catholic owned. So this would be the Brightwater Harbor IT, which is BHIT. You would see those type of schools all over the place. And they're generally like, ITs in secondary schools are a little bit different because in ITs you learn more tangible skills that then lead you to maybe do like PLCs or go to an IT university or something like that. So I figured that this is actually a pretty good concept for the school. So yeah, I've been busy, and now let's jump in. Let's create our districts, and let's see what we end up with. And here we are. We've named our districts. So just to go over them, we have Brightwater Quay. That is basically this area here, all the way to the bridge. And from there on begins the Brightwater Harbor. Then this little estate here that we have, I named it the Harbor Glen. It was something like Chester Glen or something like that, and I said, like, why not give a nod to the fact that it's just here by the water. Then we have the Rail Yard Business Park. This is just by the rail, so we can imagine maybe in the past there was a rail yard there. Who knows? And now we've got School Park. This is this entire area here in honor of the old school that was set up here. Then we have Lakeside Business Estate, because the lakeside is just here. Then we have Kevin's Glade, because St. Kevin's Parish, the patron of lakes and water. Lake is here. Makes sense. Then Brightwater Hill is kind of like our downtown area, with the main shopping street being encompassed within, and then also these few streets like Connolly Lane, Georgia Street, Hamilton Street, and this side of the park is all encompassed within the town's heart. Then we have Abbey Parks that encompass our shopping mall, the old Abbey ruin that we have here, and the subsequent visitor center that we're going to establish. Then all these few housing estates that we have here, and then the Abbey Business Park is here, yet to be detailed. So I just wanted to pop in and do it because I like for things to have names and to kind of like work, and I like to have a story behind the build, and I think that this is shaping up to be a pretty nice little town. So let's just finish it up. I'm gonna wrap up Brightwater Hill. I'm gonna start working away on roads. So one of the reasons why I wanted to outline the borders of my districts is because I kind of want to go district by district with all of the road upgrades and detailing. So I kind of like, now I'm on Brightwater Hill. I want to finish it up, and then I want to start putting in all the designated parking. I want to put all the road markings and all that kind of stuff. But I just get so sidetracked. Like I will start doing something here, and then I end up over there, and then I jump over there. So kind of like having that imaginary border of the district helps me to kind of stay focused in one area. So that's why I'm doing this. Yeah, let's just wrap up Brightwater Hill. And here we are, intermittent Luna jumping in. We've made a couple of changes. As you can see, we are looking at the said changes. I introduced a bus stop, so I sort of like, I had this idea already, and then I did the waterfront, and when I was doing it, I forgot I wanted to do it, and then I remembered. So I wanted to introduce a bus stop like on the pier on this side, because we're gonna have buses coming in again, Greenwood Glen, we're gonna have buses from out of town, from whatever we're gonna build up in the future. So this is gonna be like the intercity, basically, bus stop. I don't know why all these people are here. They just want to leave because I've been like bulldozing their homes and stuff. They're all homeless, aren't they? I think so. Okay, well, I will give them an option to leave eventually. Oh, there's a taxi rank, that's why. And there's been a lot of taxis. But yeah, this is gonna be our central station for kind of like intercity. Obviously, like Brightwater would have its own loop going around, but the point is, it's done. I mean, well, it's done. Like the road markings, obviously, we haven't moved on. But main core of the town, including the waterfront, is complete. So I'm really, really happy about this. So we have our main street, all the road markings, all the trees, all the decorations, all the stuff is done. And this is it. This is what it looks like. Isn't it gorgeous? I love it. I love it so much. I love this. This is a bit awkward now, isn't it? But sure, look. It is what it is. This is a little bit better now. Yeah, so I made all these like parking spots. I have like a couple of like loading. Oh, here's the loading. I haven't put the little letters on, as you see, but sadly the cars will park everywhere, which honestly, biblically accurate. I see cars that are not loading cars park on loading spots all the time. So yeah, we've finished up our streets here. We finished up the road markings in it's Kevin's Park, Kevin's Church, Kevin's Glade. So we finished all of that. We finished all of Hill Street, and I went in to just edit the road markings here on the further Keys roads, so like here, and I added trees and parking spots and markings and everything. So yep, now we're gonna move on. Now we are moving to our rail yard business park, and we are gonna connect our actual rail network over here so that it can become functional. And yeah, once we have this done, then we will move on to the Abbey Parks. I think that's, and then finally, at last, I think we are going to be done with Brightwater. The whole thing is revamped. It's done. Until such time as we are gonna get asset mods, when I will come back to reintroduce a couple of churches, because the only thing missing from this skyline right now is a church or two. Okay, so I'm popping in here real quick with a little bit of an update. I did a boo-boo. Actually, I did a double boo-boo. I ran out of disk space, so I've lost a whole lot of footage. Yes, I did. I actually had to open up my computer and get my SATA disk back in. I purchased one and then like I had problems with Cyberpunk, and I took it out and then I never put it back in. But yeah, these videos are taking a lot of space from me, because you might have noticed recently that I hope you've noticed recently that the quality of the videos has improved, and basically recording them at a higher bitrate, and I've learned about video encoding in DaVinci. Yes, I've been making YouTube videos for a year and a half, and only now have I actually discovered that I can encode my videos, like render them. Oh, I can render my videos. Yep. Which means that my videos weigh a lot more, like bite size wise. But anyways, I lost footage because I ran out of space. Problems fixed, but we lost bits and pieces. So here we are. I just wanted to pop in and show you around. We've done our rail yard business park that we've been setting up, and honestly, it's such a vibe. Ooh. All right, have a look at the skyline here. Like, I love this little bit of industry just popping up here over the houses. I like the chimney. I added them kind of like in a makeshift way myself, because I just like that a little bit of pop there in the skyline. I thought just that was really cool, and this is very typical around Ireland and probably UK. You know, from now on, I'm referring to Ireland. This is very typical around Ireland, where you see these type of business parks with these kind of like metal magazines that small-time business owners can purchase and then use them for whatever purposes. Like, for example, in the town where I grew up, we had a couple of these kind of business estates, and one of them was a gym that we used to go to with my mom. Recently I went to another one in Wicklow, and there was an Irish winemaker who made wine out of raspberries. He had that kind of silos in there, so that's why I put it there, because I was like, diversify the types of businesses that are here. So yeah, don't be fooled by these metal blocks. There's still diverse businesses that didn't rhyme. It is what it is. So yeah, this is what it is. It looks like this. I actually love it. It's just even like the view here. It's just gorgeous, isn't it? And we added like all the road markings and stuff. I think I'm still going to add maybe some trees here and there, little planters. So this might not be fully done yet, because it just looks a little bit bare for my taste. But another thing that I did, I removed some of the mid-road markings, like the double line or the broken line. And the reason why is just like, especially in those kind of minor roads, these very minor roads, like the business park roads, or like here the housing estate roads. I noticed that in Ireland, at least, not all of the roads will have like full markings. There's some roads that are just unmarked, and they widen and they narrow. You basically kind of have to go with it and figure it out as you're driving. And sure enough, the road might narrow at certain stage, and there might be a bus that comes out from the other side, and you narrowly avoid death. But hey, sure be grand. So that's how things work here, and that's what I'm inspired on, and that's what I kind of source based upon my observations. And I kind of like, I like the rusticness of it. Like, I like that it like gives this very rural vibes, and I think that our town is certainly evolving that way. Even though like it looks a lot more busy, I think our town looks a lot bigger than it was before. You might see some structures that I don't want you to see over there. Yeah, it looks great, doesn't it? Like, I think it looks a lot fuller than it was. The OG Brightwater just didn't cut it. This one is quite lovely, but it still looks like it's like it's not a metropolis, right? It's like it's a town. It's a towny town. And that's actually what brings me to my second boo-boo. So the reason why I don't want you to see some structures there in the back is because I'm recording this after I have already recorded more for the video, but the audio for this moment that I did a commentary for you guys was completely broken because the game reset itself to its factory settings, and I had my volume turned down, so I didn't realize that the game was actually playing music. So I recorded myself talking, and then there was loud piano music playing in the background, and at one stage a lady started speaking. It was part of the in-game radio. I just did not realize that it was on because I had my volume turned down. So yeah, it was very bad. So I'm re-recording this. Thanks to me re-recording this, however, I can tell you that we're in for some real exciting stuff. So I like zoom out so you don't see the details. But this mountain is the mountain after what we are going to be building now. I know, some real time traveling shit, but stay with me here. So since this is like a coastal seaside town, again, I'm very inspired by Bray here, but this mountain is a lot taller than Bray Head. So we are making our little hiking trail and our little parks, because I love hiking and I love nature, and I want to offer the same generosity to my citizens. I want to give them proper space for them to bind themselves to nature. So that's what we're doing. And yeah, stay with me because the next part of the video is our nature reserve of not Bray Head. Bray Head is what inspired this. I can throw in some pictures here. Yeah, so that's the inspiration. This is a bit bigger because the mountain's taller, more steep, more cliffside, which makes for a much more epic view in my opinion. Yeah, let's get on with building the Brightwater Head now. So this is where we are at. We have built out our Brightwater head, and also off camera, just to save time. At this point, I'm very cognizant about not having 40 hours of footage, especially if it's like things that you've already seen me do before. So before we get into the beautiful complexity of Brightwater head, I'm just gonna cover like the bits and pieces that I've just done. So road markings and trees around our school park district. Yeah, same old, same old. You know the road markings, you know the parking lot markings, you know the trees by the side of the road, and you know they're planters. We've done this 1,000 times before, but here it is for your enjoyment. Also, so remember when I said I couldn't figure out how to do a traffic island? I figured it out. And this is it. It's like its first form is this one. I added a couple of them down by the waterfront. I'm gonna show you there in a second. But just it looks like this. I added markings here, markings there. I'm kind of thinking to maybe get the mod to remove the road there and see what it would look like. But I haven't gotten around to it yet. So yeah, all good, same old, same old. I added a bunch of bushes at the backs of these houses, but it was just so open, plain grass fields. So it looks like this, just to kind of like nestle the homes in a bit more vegetation. Here, yeah, same old, same old. I don't remember if I had the footage of the pub here. Was that on camera? Was that filmed? I don't know. Anyways, pub is here. And some more detached housing, as you see over here. I kind of wanted to include some more of those because they're nice and also diversify a little bit. So now we are gonna get to our hiking trail. So it starts here, kind of where we have this final bit of Irish shopping place before the architectural style becomes all about the Soviet heritage. And here you can see part of our hiking trail is this bridge that we've got here. And when I saw the valleys, I was like, a bridge would be perfect. And honestly, I can't wait for an expansion that would be kind of an equivalent of the park's expansion in City Skylines 1, so that we could get a dirt trails, and also maybe like a different kind of bridge, maybe a hanging bridge. A hanging bridge would be great if we get a hanging bridge. Yeah, that's what I want. But anyways, for now it's a paved road, and yes, I could do invisible paths and draw up surfaces, but like I said that maybe I can draw the regular paths and then convert them to invisible paths, but I can't. And using the paths kind of helped me to work with the terrain, because obviously there was a lot of work dedicated to the terrain. But this is how it goes. It's gonna stay paved until we get a park's expansion, and we're gonna get a dirt pedestrian trail. Oh, there's even somebody walking around here! Oh my god! We have a hiker! Mercia Rosales! Mercia! Oh my god, this... Can I name the bridge? No, I wish. This is the bridge of Mercia Rosales. I said that knowing I will forget that name in 5 minutes, but remind me. So you go up here like this. Obviously there was a lot of work with the terrain, a lot of work with the smooth terrain tool and the slope terrain tool, and then I made sure to include these little field empty spots, empty grass plots, to mark my vistas. So this is the first vista, This is the one that's overlooking here over the bridge, over to the other estates, and over Brightwater from this kind of height. There is another part of the hiking trail that we're gonna cover after. So the trail kind of goes up here, between this little kind of like a ravine, up, up, up to the second vista that will have a look over our city, that the main bulk of the city is going to be over there. But for now, it's just the highway and the Soviet era buildings. And then up, 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 and we have another vista of Brightwater, and just look at that. Isn't it gorgeous? And then obviously we're gonna have fields, agricultural stuff, all around the islands, more Brightwater-esque towns, nestled in different islands. I also think I want to dedicate one of the islands to a Mediterranean style. Haven't really formulated this idea, so it's gonna be a while before we even get there. But the idea is there. The idea has appeared. And then the trail goes up and up and up here by this road that goes up to the telecommunications tower, and up and up. Oh my God, another one! Henry Haley. Henry, my God, doing a serious hike. And it is, because here, if you look at it, another vista, it's getting even taller. Now we're getting into some serious territory, aren't we? And I really love it. Like, it just, you get these little snippets of our town, and it just looks so, so beautiful. I honestly couldn't have imagined Brightwater to look any better. Certainly not when I started. And here we have this kind of cliffwalk that cuts around the side of the mountain, and it's just kind of like covered in bushes and stuff, offering insane views, meanwhile being possibly dangerous. But I honestly probably walked on more dangerous cliffwalks in Ireland, so not having much like safety is a thing here. You kind of just have a bit of vegetation sort of growing out, and you know, between you and the certain death. But I like it. Like, yeah, it kind of pops your adrenaline, especially if you're like me and you're afraid of heights. But it's beautiful. Look at the sights, and then you offer some beautiful views of our town before completing a sharp ascent to the summit. And here at the actual summit you have obviously the telecom tower. Nothing much to see here, but then if people want, they can climb up to the actual head, and I can't wait to have asset mods, because I would love to drop a massive cross in here. And this is a very Irish hiking trails thing. Like, most hills and mountains that are notable would have like a cross at the top of it. So Braehead, which sort of inspired in a loose way this build, the Brightwater, would have one, and I can insert it here. Yeah, so that was it. And now for the second part. So this mountain, I called it the Brightwater Head. Obviously, I also replaced all of the vegetation around here, just to kind of respect more like the cliffside. Actually, I don't know, because the game broke a couple of times. Yes, we don't have our map team on. Okay, let's turn it on. There it is. So I wanted to respect a little bit more the actual like cliffside and whatnot. And this is what it looks like. I love the Valkyria map team. It's kind of cool. I just like the greens are popping a little bit more. And here we have this type of hill walk. I call this the Abbey Hill. Yeah, Abbey Hill, for the Brightwater Abbey that's just there. And we have a bit of a different hiking experience here. This would be kind of like, this makes me think Dublin Mountains, is actually one of my favorite hikes. And you have these kind of monolithic stone formations. Most notable in Dublin Mountains, there's one called the Fairy Castle, which I can insert here. So yeah, you will be walking around the mountains, and then in the lower part you'll have the forest, and as you get kind of like to the top, you'll have like an open field with a lot of shrubs and vegetation and these kind of like monolithic stacks of rocks. And then every now and again you get something more interesting, which is over here. Stone circle, another pile of rocks, maybe like a ruin of a monolithic house. So I wanted to do a little homage to these beautiful, fascinating sites here, and that is our hiking trail. Beautiful history, beautiful nature, vegetation, and here we have kind of like a slaloming or meandering way down that comes out on the other side. So people who live around these parts can actually take a nice hike up the mountains and end up in Brightwater. So that's also an option for our avid hikers. And that's what we did. Now this part of town is basically done. So we've already done a lot. Oh, let me show you the traffic islands. So do you see that? I wish I knew how to make them earlier. I would have maybe organized my pedestrian crossings a little bit differently, but I love them nonetheless. This is my first trial of introducing them, so they will be coming. There will be more. I'm glad I figured it out, but I'm not touching this road anymore. I've spent enough time on detailing it to be happy with it, even if it's not 100% perfect. And I'm back after we had been so rudely interrupted by the City Skylines 2 crash. The only thing consistent about Colossal Order at this stage, I think, and their product is how often it crashes. But I digress. Let's carry on. So the next plan for what we are doing here... by the way, I used the fact that the game crashed to try out the road wear remover. And this is what it looks like. I'm kind of digging it. I like it. I think it's here to stay. Look at it. It's beautiful. I think the markings are great. I love it. There's some areas here and there, especially in like Greenwood Glen, that will definitely require a little bit of love from us. But we're gonna give it. We're gonna do it. This is what it looks like. And I wanted to come here specifically, so like you have this kind of like literally an empty road, and the cars just sort of have to figure out how to not hit each other. And this is very typical in Ireland. So yeah, that's what we have. But I've been talking long enough, so let's just draw up our plan. We will do the Abbey Business Park first, then we will do the Abbey Parks second, and that means all of the road markings, obviously all the missing buildings, vegetation, yada yada yada. That's what we are doing, and then I think we are going to be done. I kid you not. I think it's like we're like so close. Now let's pray that City Skylines doesn't die on us. Yeah, let's get building. Let's get Abbey Business Park out of the way. Bada bim, bada boom. The Abbey Business Park is officially over. And here is our. Is it east? Is it west? I think like east is over there. So it's like. Okay. Here is one side of our town. Done. I really love what we did. We had so many key walls around this town, and it just wasn't realistic. It just wasn't pretty. So I'm really happy with the way that it's coming out to be. We still have a small bit to go, but I just wanted to pop in here and present to you this little corner. So we've got this is the UK police station. I fully expanded it. And also we've got the welfare office over here. So people can get their dole and whatnot. I really think that the Eastern European office buildings do actually work quite well with a British or Irish town vibes. Like, I think that I've seen buildings of this nature around. And I like it because size-wise as well, it's like it's pretty easy to fit it, especially in a small cramped space like here. So that was nice. And then we've got a bunch of magazines. I put a little chimney as well. Just the chimney is mostly just like a beautifying spot for our skyline, just to have like, just to have like that some like towery objects sticking out, marking our little skyline. Did I just say timeline? Skyline. Yeah. Okay. Now we are gonna do Abbey Parks. So let's do our visitor center. Let's do the home estates over here, and see what we end up with. All right. Let's get to work. And we're done. Here it is. I am so happy to show this to you. Abbey Court has been renamed Abbey Court. Not Abbey Parks anymore because we actually have a court. Imagine that. Rich people's galore. So here is the ruin. I added the little prop of the Eastern European water tower because I wanted a tower. I don't like the color. I can't recolor it. It is what it is. It kind of adds a character, I think, in my humble opinion. It adds a character. I love the ruin and then the red tower. It's kind of like, you know, one of those signifiers of a town. And just like whatever we wouldn't look, it's just so pretty, isn't it? Isn't it? So, strap on, let me show you around. Here we've got a ruin, and the build sort of went a completely different direction than what I kind of envisioned it. We still have the graveyard. I still added it, as you see. It's here. It's just much smaller than what I thought it would end up being, because we got this kind of gardens, visitor center, public space type of thing here. So let me show you from the front. This is the main street. This is the street that Abbey Court is on, and I named it like that for two reasons. A, we have an actual court here, so it's kind of like these Georgian homes again, with a central park in the middle, and then it's actually right in front of this old ruin that was the abbey, and then you have this like kind of posh looking house that I envision it, I intended as like a public building that maybe was like a posh rich house of a posh rich individual back in the day, but has been repurposed into a public space with a public access garden, and it's part of this whole abbey complex here, where you also have like a visitor center, maybe like historic office or something like that, a preservation society building. Use your imagination. It will be that which you imagine. And yeah, here's like a little parking lot. I added everything from the surfaces. I actually had to draw these parking spaces and place prop cars because I didn't have enough space for an actual parking space, and also they flattened my terrain with like did a whole lot of other things, and then I obviously drew up these little paths, which was kind of an interesting exercise for me, because obviously I've built up the hiking trail up there in the mountains, and yes, you can see across, and I actually have probably included footage of me making a cross here in the graveyard, so that's how I made it. I'll show it to you in a second. Yeah, it's like this. It's nice, it's quaint, it's small, it's peaceful. It also is connected with pedestrian invisible paths, so pedestrians actually will be walking through here and on those kind of like paths that I have going through here. Then over here we have more kind of overgrown park and ruins here. Also, we've got more, so kind of people can come, look around, see what's here, and then it comes out onto the graveyard. So I would imagine that this was probably a church, and I used the oh, you see, someone is coming in. Sadly, they cannot open the gate, but that's the limitation of the game. We just have to live with it. And you see, people are just walking through the graveyard here. They're walking around, and this cross, oh, there's a little like, it's not perfectly measured, but it's I made it using the UK wall pieces, so yeah, or like wall column pieces, I think, and I just like resin them and twisted them around using the XYZ geometric thingies, like you click the thingy and then you change the value and you rotate it around and then bring it up and down with move it. So that's what I did. And same thing over there. We'll get there in a sec. Here as well, you have paths going through the cemetery, and then you have the gardens, and the gardens are absolutely gorgeous, aren't they? Look at them. You have a little fountain, you have some benches. It's a perfect spot for a date. Here, I wanted to do like flower art and shrub art, but I am very bad at it. So I decided to reference the fact that I like to play video games, and I just did like an XOXO or tic-tac-toe or whatever. Use your imagination. What you imagine, it is it. And here we have a little orchard with the apple trees at the back. And yeah, I think it's just lovely. Again, these buildings are completely non-functional in the actual like sense of the game. It's just a bunch of props. But yeah, I think it's really nice. And you see these type of buildings all around Ireland. So I'm really happy we got to include it. And then obviously like the Georgian homes, you know how it goes. We have a whole neighborhood of those, so I'm not gonna go into too much detail on these. But a whole row here. Again, all the bins are recolored, all the surfaces, all the fences, all the gates, colors of the building, everything manual labor, yeah. Here, these homes are props. And again, there is, I did take some liberty at the back of such spaces, like here, for example, it's like a wild space. And here, for example, like I didn't include some of the gardens because it just wouldn't make sense. So in spaces like this, I just cover them with as much trees as I possibly can and pretend they don't exist. This is where reality breaks, but it's tucked away and you don't really see it. So yeah, that's just like my way of covering up terrain differences or like crop differences and stuff. It's just like you can't make everything work all the time in the game. So when you can't make it work, you find a creative, workable way to hide it, and that's what I've done. Yeah, we've got obviously we covered the industrial side. We've got another row of homes here, and I edited this little pathway, added this little kind of walkable space. Yeah, that's it. Other trees, lines on the roads. Over here I added obviously this cliffside housing, a beautiful vista of the islands and the mountains over there on the other side of the river. And that's it. We're done. We're officially done. Let's have a look at our skyline of Brightwater. Can't wait for the before and after shots. And I'm gonna take before and after shots this time with how Brightwater was in general before we started revamping it. So everything, so you can see the all of the changes coming together. And I'm so excited. Like I definitely want like a nice shot from here. Nice shot from here, just to encompass the change in the skyline, the way that the city looks. I think it looks so much fuller. It looks like there's so much more going on in this city than it looked like before, even though size-wise it's still the same size. Just maybe more buildings. I don't really know. But it's great. It's really, really great. So before we pop off to the before and after shots, this is our Brightwater Head cross. And this is very typical on peaks all over Ireland. You find like tall peaks will always have a cross. And then the platform here, this is a skyscraper prop that I just lowered down into the mountain and created a platform. I might have done this off camera. I was just experimenting with how would I make a cross. This is how. These are two pillars that again I rotated and intersected using move it and the coordinates. Coordinates, that's the word. All right. On this note, let's zoom out. Let's have our before and after shots. Did you enjoy that? I did a lot. I've been discovering new ways to engage with the recording tools and with the in-game like camera tools that we've got. Yes, I know. I've been recording these videos for how long, and only about now I make it my business to look into it. I know I'm a slow learner. You have to forgive me. But this video has gone long enough. This 3-part Brightwater revamp has gone on for long enough. And I'm only gonna say that I have some exciting stuff coming up for you in the next episode. I'm changing the video format. I am engaging more with the camera tools that we have available to us in the game. So I'm hoping that the episodes are gonna be shorter, because I don't want to have to take an hour and a half of your time. I really don't. And I don't think that there's a reason to either. So I think we can enjoy building this town with a lot more focused way to actually convey the way in which it comes about. So that's what we will do starting in the next episode. But for now, let's just take a final look at our Brightwater skyline, because this is what it's all about in City Skylines. It's in the name. Duh! Alright, if you like this episode, like, subscribe, drop a comment down below, introduce yourself, let me know that you're watching, and I will catch you on the next one. Keep an eye out for that, because it's really good. I've already been recording, so keep an eye out for that. Thanks, and